Good evening, everyone. I first became acquainted with the First Person Arts Association in autumn of last year. And in that time, I found them to be kind and open and accepting people. And it is only because of that that this evening I will explore something that I have never covered in my 16 years of public performance, which is the story of my hair. Now, when preparing for this evening, I turned, as I often do when preparing for a big project, to William Shakespeare's Henry V. Specifically, the prologue delivered by the chorus. For those of you familiar with the play, which I would presume would be most of you, the chorus comes out. It's the Greek chorus, which means the narrator, as opposed to the modern chorus, which you know from pop music, which is, let's write a hook and repeat it for 4.5 minutes. Music is dreadful now. The chorus in Henry V comes out and basically apologizes for the physical shortcomings of reality. He comes out and he says, but it's Shakespearean, so you have to say, oh! Or if you're Laurence Olivier, you go, oh, because his words dropped out of the bottom of his mouth. Oh, for a muse of fire that would ascend the brightest heavens of invention. So they're talking about, we wish that we had the mojo to bring this great object before you. And there's a line in there, would that we could cram within this wooden O, which is the Globe Theatre in London. Would that we could cram within this wooden O the very casques, helmets. Would that we could cram within this wooden O the very casques that did affright the air at Agincourt, which is a battle that's a big deal in European history and in the play. Which brings me to my hair. Because I often tried to cram, much like the chorus at the opening of Henry V, I often tried to cram it into a casque, a hat, for years and years. I actually stood on the stage of the Globe Theatre many years ago as a youth. But we'll get to that in a moment. It's the reconstructed Globe Theatre, obviously, because the original burnt down. We all know that. So, as a very young child, I had what was called wavy hair. It was wavy. It didn't look like this, and there was more of it. And it made things difficult. I would be in class, and teachers would be up here writing things, as they are wont to do. And they would turn around, and they would say things like, Jeffrey, so what are you doing? Like with your hair? Are you going to cut it? Or brush it? Or it looks weird. Anyway, the Civil War. Let's talk about that. I'm a Caucasian teacher in an all-Caucasian class. Let's talk about the history of owning people. Quick segue, your hair is strange. Back to the lesson. For years and years, my peers would say things to me like nice hair and then use a very ugly word. It's a unit of measure traditionally for firewood, specifically as much firewood as an old woman can carry on her back, and a very ugly word. And they would say nice hair, unit of measure, old lady, firewood packet. Dreadful, dreadful, dreadful. So when I hear nice hair, that's what I think. So I decided that I would just wear a hat. Colorado Rockies, because it was the only hat they had that was large enough to hold all of it. It was an 8. Sometime after that, I decided I was going to grow it out. I was going to grow it out, and I was going to tie it back, and then that would solve the problem. Didn't solve the problem. Then I realized if I kept it wet all the time, and I combed it, it would look like Marilyn Manson. This is Portrait of an American Family. Marilyn Manson, not in the bodysuit Marilyn Manson. Like Trent Reznor or Severus Snape for the younger people in the audience. A Severus Snape hairdo was what I was trying to achieve. That didn't solve the problem. So my mother very kindly braided it, these beautiful braids, because I wanted to headbang, because I had my head hurt, and I thought that if I rocked it back and forth, it would solve the problem. And it didn't solve the problem. So then I bleached it, but it went bright orange, so then it was just more obvious to everyone. Which brings me to the Globe Theatre, which was the haircut that I had. Braids like this, bleached orange, in England on a rainy day in a Shakespearean theater, totally fitting in and having a great time far away from home. So I shaved my head the next year. I said, enough of this. Shaved my head. Started working out. Things looked up. Got married. Decided I'd grow my hair out again. Started to grow out my hair. It was really great. My mother cut my hair. I cut my hair. My first wife cut my hair. I got divorced. I discovered pomade. I put that in my hair. Because why have fun when you're getting divorced? Tortured myself. Now I live here. This was many years ago. Now I live here, and I hear things like, "Hey, forehead!" when I leave the house every day. The people in my neighborhood are the worst. So when nice people come up to me and say things like, "Hey, I love your hair," all I hear is years and years of horrendous shit. But what I say is, "Oh, thank you, that's so gracious of you. That's a very kind thing to say." And then I go to the bar and I order gin and tonic and I inhale it. But it doesn't solve the problem. It's getting worse. People say, "Nice hair." I say, "Thank you very much, that's so gracious of you." What I want to say is, no one said that until it started falling out. My forehead, like the oceans of our troubled planet, rises inexorably each year, much to my chagrin.